The story of sanctions against Iran is a long and convoluted one, deeply intertwined with the nation's nuclear ambitions and its standing on the global stage. Since the Islamic Revolution of 1979, Iran has faced various forms of economic sanctions, but the intensity and scope of these sanctions have significantly ramped up in the 21st century, particularly in relation to Iran's nuclear program. The overarching goal of these sanctions, from the perspective of the imposing countries, primarily the United States and its allies, has been to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions and to bring about a change in its behavior on other fronts, such as its support for various non-state actors in the region. The sanctions imposed on Iran are multifaceted, encompassing a wide range of economic, trade, and financial restrictions. These have had a profound impact on the Iranian economy over the years. Key sectors like oil, banking, and automotive have been severely affected, leading to a substantial decline in foreign investments, a sharp drop in oil revenues, and a significant hindrance to the country's overall economic growth. The ripple effects of these sanctions can be felt across various strata of Iranian society, impacting the daily lives of ordinary citizens. One of the most profound impacts of sanctions has been on Iran's oil sector, which is a backbone of its economy. The restrictions on its oil exports have choked off a vital source of revenue, leading to a shrinkage of foreign exchange reserves and putting immense pressure on the Iranian rial. This in turn has triggered a sharp rise in inflation, affecting the purchasing power of ordinary Iranians and making basic goods and services more expensive. The financial sector too has been at the receiving end of stringent sanctions. The exclusion of Iran from the international banking system, including the SWIFT network, has severely impeded its ability to conduct international transactions. This financial isolation has not only hampered trade, but also deterred foreign investment, further exacerbating Iran's economic woes. Moreover, sanctions have led to a severe humanitarian crisis in Iran. The restrictions have impeded the flow of essential goods, including medicine and medical equipment. Despite claims from sanctioning nations that humanitarian goods are exempt, the financial restrictions have made transactions extremely difficult, thereby affecting the availability of these essential items. The healthcare sector in particular has been hit hard, facing shortages of life-saving medicines and medical equipment, thereby impacting the treatment of patients with serious illnesses. The socio-economic fabric of Iran has also been significantly affected by sanctions. Unemployment rates have soared, especially among the youth, leading to widespread discontent and frustration among the populace. The crippling economy has driven a wedge between different segments of society, exacerbating social inequalities and stirring public dissent against both the Iranian government and the imposing countries. Additionally, the sanctions have impacted Iran's foreign relations and its standing in the international community. On one hand, they have driven Iran closer to some countries like Russia and China, who are also at odds with the West. On the other hand, they have strained Iran's relations with many European countries, who, despite opposing the unilateral sanctions by the US, have found it challenging to continue business with Iran due to the overarching fear of secondary sanctions. The sanctions regime has also had a paradoxical effect on Iran's political landscape. While it has emboldened hardliners who advocate for a more confrontational approach towards the West, it has also put moderate factions, who favor engagement and diplomacy, on the back foot. The political tug-of-war within Iran is reflective of the broader struggle between maintaining sovereign pride and seeking economic relief through diplomatic engagements. Furthermore, the sanctions have spurred Iran to look inward for economic resilience. There has been an increased emphasis on developing domestic industries, reducing reliance on imports, and fostering economic self-sufficiency. However, the road to self-sufficiency is fraught with challenges, given the existing infrastructural and technological limitations. The narrative of sanctions on Iran is emblematic of the broader geopolitics at play. It's a reflection of the contentious relationship between Iran and the West, particularly the United States. The dynamics of sanctions go beyond mere economic restrictions. They echo the ideological, political, and strategic discord that exists on a larger scale. The sanctions regime has also invoked a discourse on its efficacy and humanitarian implications on the global stage. Critics argue that sanctions have failed to alter Iran's behavior in the desired manner and have instead caused undue suffering to the Iranian populace. The ethical dimensions of sanctions, therefore, remain a topic of intense debate within international circles. Moreover, the unfolding saga of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal, and Iran's compliance or lack thereof, continues to be a focal point in the discourse surrounding sanctions. The fluctuating commitment of different stakeholders to the JCPOA exemplifies the complex interplay of geopolitics, diplomacy, and economic pressures that shape the sanctions narrative. The future of sanctions on Iran is shrouded in uncertainty, hinging on the evolving geopolitical landscape, the outcome of diplomatic engagements, and the internal political dynamics within Iran. The efficacy of sanctions as a tool for achieving political and strategic objectives remains a contentious issue, with varied opinions on whether they bring about desired change or further entrench adversarial relations. The broader regional implications of sanctions on Iran also warrant attention. The economic constraints on Iran reverberate across the Middle East, affecting its interactions with neighboring countries and impacting regional geopolitics. The sanctions-induced economic distress in Iran also has the potential to foment instability in an already volatile region. There's also a technological dimension to the sanctions. The restrictions have hindered Iran's access to global technological advancements, impeding its development trajectory. However, it has also spurred a drive for indigenous technological innovation, as Iran seeks to circumvent the limitations imposed by sanctions. Furthermore, the discourse on sanctions against Iran also brings into focus the broader debate on the use of economic measures as tools of foreign policy. The Iran case presents a complex scenario where economic sanctions intertwine with geopolitical ambitions, nuclear proliferation concerns, and human rights considerations, thereby making it a rich subject of analysis for understanding the multifaceted nature of international relations. The sanctions on Iran also underscore a critical examination of international law and the principles governing global economic systems. They pose questions on the legitimacy and ethicality of economic coercion as a means to achieve political ends and the humanitarian cost associated with such measures. The historical trajectory of sanctions against Iran is a testament to the complex and often tumultuous relationship between economic measures and political objectives. It's a narrative that has unfolded over decades, reflecting the changing dynamics of global geopolitics and the enduring challenges of achieving diplomatic solutions in a complex international landscape. The tale of sanctions and Iran is far from over. It continues to evolve with each passing day. The interplay of domestic, regional, and international factors, each with its own set of complexities, continues to shape the narrative of sanctions and their impact on Iran. It's a narrative that encapsulates the intricacies of global geopolitics, the quest for nuclear proliferation control, and the humanitarian dilemma entailed in economic coercion. Thanks for watching Middle East Info. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful content on this fascinating region.